Okay, so reading a bunch of poems, talking a little shop, yada yada yada, all the BS I like to do. Um, I started work on a new book of poetry. It maybe a full book. It may just end up being kind of a semi-large chat book. I'm not sure yet. We're going to see where it goes. I'm going to see what I can compile for it. But the first one is kind of an older one. It goes back to maybe the early 90s. And this is kind of weird. I don't do the rhymey thing much. Just, it ain't me. But in this instance, I kind of play around with rhyme. It's a loose rhyme scheme at best, but I try to come up with a little something. And so this is a poem kind of along those lines. And a little trivia that you need to know about me is one thing I would love to see before I die is to see a group of cheerleaders chanting this thing out. I think that would crack me up. Okay, so this is kind of think of the way you might see this. Say if you've ever been on the losing end of a bar fight, or maybe you've just seen someone on the losing end of a bar fight, and everybody's cheering on the guy who's winning. The guy who's losing is kind of getting his ass kicked, and he's kind of on the ground. And one of the last things you may be hearing before he passes out is just somebody way out in the back just yelling, "Hit him! Come on! Hit him! Hit him in the head! Come on, make him bleed!" Anyway, it's like that kind of situation, and not gonna say much except maybe there are reasons that I don't drink anymore. Okay, so this one goes with the unlikely title of Gom. So I'm gonna start that. Gom, gob. That's the sounds of your mouth when he slams with his fist. You don't own the place. You're strutting your stuff. You say some karate. You're putting on airs. So he's hitting you with that chair. You're putting on the hurt. You might want to run. He calling you pussy. He having his fun. Gom. Gop. That's the sound of your mouth when he breaks all your teeth. Your teeth, they rankled, left in nubs, and they crinkle and they crack, and they fall at your feet. He yelling you dead. He's smashing your head. You yellow rat bum. Your eyes are all red. Hey, ain't it fun? He telling you run. He calling you dead man. He having his fun. Sound of your bones cracking and wrecking. The sounds of your mouth hucking and bucking as his boot keeps connecting. Gom. I kind of wrote a little chant there, I guess. So that's one. Let's skip this one, but I'm going to come back to it. That's like the big long ass epic there. Okay, so here's a real short one. And kind of tentatively, because sometimes I have a rough time sleeping and I wake up in the morning and I'm completely obsessed with some weird title that comes out of my head. And so this one's called "When I Veer Recklessly Off the Road, I at least try to do it with style." Want my attention? Flash a little thigh. Want my undivided attention? Flash a lot of thigh. That's it. That comes from back in the 90s, the xerographic scene. We were a pretty raw bunch, and we like to just write really blunt, kind of minimalist diatribes, particularly about sex, and pretty much say exactly what we're thinking. And nowadays, of course, maybe people are a little politically correct, a little more sensitive, a little. I guess some people use the word woke, and I don't know. I just ain't got time for that. But yeah, sorry, my '90s sensibility, my nasty '90s sensibility there. Anyway, the last piece is a big old thing, and this is I never really had a concrete title. I just kind of refer to it as the gentrification cycle. And this one was actually picked up by Neo. Hey, Deanna. Anyway, this is called Gentrification Cycle and Part 1, 1996. My days. Oh, someone's calling. My days in this house are numbered. Already cashing my chips in and preparing to move halfway across the country, joining friends, fellow writers, indie zine publishers, and other misfits in Arkansas. I'm living out my last days in the New Hampshire ghetto. My erstwhile roommates left me, holding this bag, alone in this ramshackle dump. But the situation is ending. A better one is on the horizon. My sainted, obsessive, compulsive mother, however, believes that even though the time is short, she will come spend the night, hang pretty curtains, and paste stencils along the walls to help make my outlook brighter. I allow it because she means well. The neighbors in the building hang around the front step, wander the streets like dope-addled ghosts. Some of them are nice enough, most I steer clear of. My mother pities them. She tells me if she were ever to win the lottery, she would refurbish and beautify the entire street, give them something to appreciate, to make their lives better. Like I said, she means well. She fundamentally misunderstands gentrification, and even at this point in life, I know the score because part and parcel with the beautification process, these people would be shunted off the street to raise the rent and make way for squeaky clean clientele. I would be pushed out, so would a lot of people. 2004, watching the mayoral debate live on the public access channel, the poor doomed candidate representing the more disenfranchised segments of the city admits out of the starting gate that he's not a big idea man, but acknowledges that something has to be done for the people on the South End. The popular incumbent, the good guy liberal who refers to himself as a green real estate developer, whatever that is, says that the city is already doing something for the South End, setting up tax incremental funding for a new luxury hotel and beautification program. We tore down a bunch of mobile homes, he says. We're replacing them with new apartments. It's going to be beautiful. But that's when people start complaining about gentrification. I'll go to my grave wishing I'd been there because I would have posed the question, what happened to the people who lived in those trailers? No one ever asked those questions. 2011. Across the way, men in hazmat suits scramble around the southernmost building in the complex, gutting the place. People the next building over see the writing on the wall. They're scrambling for their belongings. The college kids heading out tell us they're going to gut the whole complex. We're getting out while we can. The new owner, a private equity firm, has decided to let the complex go. What marginal AC we had no longer works. The bathwater is scalding hot. It's become evident that there are gaping holes in the walls. I look up toward the ceiling and see sunlight. Hornets fly in multiple times a day. Let me tell you about this apartment complex and the people who lived here. Factory workers, retirees, veterans, handicapped people, refugees from Katrina, families, good people, people we talked with, were friendly with, people we saw live and die. We end up getting lucky before the purges even reach our building. Friends in a bad housing situation land an apartment that is both cheap and nice. We follow their lead and get to a place down the street from them. The developer has a reputation for being a slumlord, but it feels like the fucking Ritz to us. Our old complex has a reputation for being a slumlord, but it feels like the Ritz to it. Wait, I read that already. Our old complex is refurbished as an eco-friendly residence, whatever that means. The rent doubles and rich parents are paying for their kids' schooling and they're glad to fork out that cash. My wife and I bristle and explode into hateful tirades whenever the place is mentioned anywhere. The lucky recipients to these rants just blink their eyes in dull confusion. And last part, 2023. Residents along the block are thrown out of their apartments. Homes and buildings vanish, placed overnight by sanitized Pez dispenser monstrosities. We shuffle by, heads down, waiting for the next axe to fall. This city calls itself the City of Compassion, whatever that means. I remember the compassion last year when a homeless couple froze to death sleeping in a park. When poor families are tossed out in the street because their water-damaged apartments were being torn down to build green space. Where do these people live now? No one ever asks that question. We don't make the brochures. We don't look good in campaign commercials. This week, a family faced criminal charges for allowing homeless people to camp on their property. The City of Compassion strikes again. Compassion, whatever that means. Anyway, yeah, that's that little bit of poetry for you tonight. And I'll catch you with more fun sometime fairly soon. Hope all be well, folks.